Hello there everyone and welcome back. It's time to play around with another faction. I was recently inspired to play as the orcs for this upcoming video, but there are a couple issues that I kind of encountered for I wanted to do a torpedo type of lance centric type of fleet. That is a fleet I had experimented with way back when. It's probably meant more on doing boarding damage as opposed to direct damage. But the saps were meant to kind of slow down my adversary so I can get close enough to at least do the engagement I want. There's a couple problems with that. For one, I did a bit of experimenting with the torpedoes, and apparently their torpedoes don't actually penetrate through the armor. I don't know if that's another glitch of the myriad of glitches and bugs that are available, but ultimately this is not a big deal since, again, I might be relying more on my boarding damage as opposed to direct damage with these torpedoes, so the reduced damage that they can do is not a big factor there, but definitely one to be noted. The second one is the fact that these lances, it's supposed to be stacking up the duration, and I have, what, 12 of those lances on the battle cruisers currently? This is kind of reverted back to what the original shocking saps were, which is instead of stacking up the duration, it instead stacks up the slow effect. So sure, that may not sound terrible if I did my staggering like I hinted at before way back when I experimented with this fleet. The catch is it still has the 1 second duration as opposed to the 2 second duration that the saps used to have before the switch to them. So at best case I can only get a 6 second slow. That can stack up, but it hinders greatly my ability to get close to my opponent, I feel like. So I think I'm going to put that on hold for the time being. Hopefully there might be patches, and let alone the ranked reset, kind of something I'm looking forward and waiting for as well, to maybe dive into that at another time, since those two things alone kind of hurt that prospect, and it might be why there's nothing but mega cannons for the orc fleets, at least currently. So in the meantime, we're going to go with a different type of boarding fleet. Hell, I'm going to be going with the 6 cruiser type of fleet here, but it's entirely possible if I want to rely on my torpedoes mostly, I've just squeezed in 4 hunters. I do miss out on the boarding potential of a 6 cruiser, but I still get the same torpedo count at least, and I have the vision to kind of justify it. Hell, this was kind of the fleet I was utilizing before, way back when, before committing to the 6 cruiser fleet. So I like the prospect there, but with the experience that I had with Asuryani and kind of covering all my bases, especially when faced off against Tyranids or stealth type fleets, I feel like maybe I can get away with this, and this is not the lance type fleet, keep in mind. We're utilizing torpedoes here with 1 carrier ship to kind of distract point defense in kind of like death ball situations maybe. I am eager to try it out. I am eager to have some fun with it, and we'll see if this works out to how I'm hoping. Okay, right off the bat we're going to face off with Adeptus Mechanicus. This is kind of an interesting encounter I was not expecting. Although, I don't recognize the name, but of course rankings suggest they might be a newer player, but we're going to see firsthand just how swiftly the Space Marines can potentially dodge Novacans. Since I want to argue, outside the Chaos Slaughter, these strike cruisers are pretty much the fastest ships in the game. It's just a little awkward because you have to manage the combustion gauge. But if I hold this and utilize it properly, I can kind of outpace the Eldari really damn well. Only exception might be with the combustion recharge on like the Adeptus Mechanicus and Imperial Navy, which sadly I do not have access to. So I'm stuck with this combustion gauge and I can't really recharge it. Which I don't need to tell you how ridiculous that might be if I could get away with that for Space Marines. And with the limited boarding potential, if I can hit with some boarding torpedoes and just do some broadside boarding in general, this might suck for my opponent. It might. What all realistically do I want? Probably Disruption Bomb, since any battleships, or really any of their cruisers, have a fair amount of shield hit points to them. even though Disruption Overcharge kind of, yeah, they kind of do the same thing, Disruption Bomb, Disruption Overcharge. And at least Disruption Overcharge allows me to keep the shields down. And I don't need to tell you what Kulex's Assassin is going to be great for. That's going to just force them to break immediately. And 4 ships. So this could very easily be similar to what I have there. At least with 4 Nova cannons, maybe 2 battleships. So we gotta have to figure out which are the battleships and which isn't. And due to the fact that... okay. I wish I had paid attention to which one that was. I'm assuming it's a dictator. And I have fighters to help with that some. The one benefit of at least committing to a single carrier ship. And they have a mission dissipator, because that was a ridiculously fast... it's not a Nova, it's... well, it could be a Nova, it could be a Hunter, actually. One of those two things. Either way, it might take a while to grab. Okay, so we got 2 of these Novas at the very least. And with 4 ships. Oh, and I'm concealed. It's a little obtrusive with the sun in the back, so I apologize for that. It's even distracting me trying to look for these fighters. Because now I'm just content to launch my own fighters, but even those silhouettes are kind of hidden right now. Oh, there they are. I am thankfully concealed, but... and scanner pulsed as well. If only briefly. Interestingly, the scanner pulse didn't reveal any of my ships. Which is kind of good, since I am going to have to boost in there relatively quickly. Oh, it's a good thing I looked. Because again, this can intrude a little bit with the background. I have the Omni sign. Watch for the combustion gauge.
We stand ready. Enemy in sight.
There.
You have seized a strategic area.
Now, sadly, I don't think my boring torpedoes are going to make it in time, but the most important thing is to watch for the combustion gauge, because that's going to hurt a ton.
Where shall we strike?
Even more so if I let myself micro warp jump, so that sadly is not going to work. I apologize, buddy. Just because of the boarding I'm about to do.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Enemy in sight. Our rock cannot be denied.
Now, what?
That is impossible.
Now that's all done. I did not pay attention to doing actual boarding damage, but needless to say, this is good work. A good boarding damage to start off with. And the fact that these Nova cannons don't move, again, gotta watch combustion gauge. That was unfortunate. I was hoping not to pause all their combustion gauge. Because this might hurt some. Not as much as it could have been, especially with the convenience of this armor. Engine being damaged right now. I'm doing a terrible job with my torpedoes, I won't lie. But the boarding damage is absurd. This is kind of what I was referring to when I went up against Saracen. This is why I have reason to be afraid of Space Marines. And they just fired their Nova cannons, so I'm in good shape here. Now, let's finish this deal. I am going to get rammed horribly. This thing might be doomed to death. And I'm worried that they might self-destruct these ships and I won't see them doing that. Because there used to be a glitch that keeps the scuttle effect hidden. But thankfully, I think we're in the clear. Actually, well, that was pretty straightforward, wasn't it? And they destroyed one of their own ships for me. That was mighty nice. Come on, get these 2 out. Do they have enough combustion gauge? Yep, they should be able to make it out, and the shield will absorb whatever little damage they might not avoid. Alright.
The enemy is
Nice, simple victory. And I think that justifies why I was playing so damn passive before. So, I was giving Saracen the respect he damn well deserved, being a 6-cruiser Space Marine fleet. And now, I'm pretty certain you've seen why. And they do have all their skills leveled up because we saw the micro warp jump. A little unfortunate that did not work out as they hoped, because they probably didn't see the boring torpedoes, which could have obscured their vision, kind of like it obscured mine. And hell, I'm honestly a little bit afraid of how much that screwed over with the YouTube video, because apparently, like with the Eye of the Omni sign, the visuals, the red coloration, for some weird reason degrades the quality, I think anyway. Okay, so we're gonna face off against Asuryani again. Now, did I face off against Asuryani before as Necron? I almost feel like I did, I just can't remember what it was. Either way, we got easy opportunities to lightning strike him, maybe keep him at a distance, but if I suspect a mass recall, I want to be able to... I don't know, I can either do this super aggressively and get the ridiculous amount of boring early, which can work amazingly since Necron don't have any armor piercing potential, outside the main theme that Necron go for, which is the Arc Propagator. So in all honesty, spreading out can be great at minimizing that. And if Asuryani decides to make any mistakes, then I can punish that relatively well. I'm tempted to go lock on it if I were to be serious, but Disruption Overcharge is great at denying the recharge. Kulex's Assassin could do a lot of damn work here for forcing one of the tomb ships to eventually break. And let's see, I gotta be mindful of the formation too. I think I like staggering a tiny bit like this, because at least that way, if I can keep this formation, then they're safe from the Arc Propagator. I'm just not gonna have the convenience of, like, what is it? Grabbing objectives as quickly as I like. And apparently you were going the wrong way. Alright, so we have a tomb ship. That much is a given. Oh, I accidentally had 2 of my ships turn around, silly me.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
And again, main thing is to minimize the impact the Arc Propagator has. Okay, so we know that there are no frigates of note. And I do have fighter bays easily deny their fighters some.
Repositioning.
And just for sake of thoroughness, we'll try and grab the objective, but at least this way I don't have to worry about a mass recall nearly as much.
Where shall we strike?
I like this formation. It spreads them out, it minimizes AoE damage a bit. And I didn't pay attention, I'm assuming they're all in the gas cloud now, which is fine by me, I guess.
I am listening.
If they want to do that, then that's fine. Just okay, they just jump forward, using the gas cloud for a little bit of cover.
To where we are needed.
And hopefully,
Show us the enemy.
I don't take too much damage as a result of this.
Enemy in sight.
Because sadly, yeah, minor point not having the convenience. And I don't have lances, so it's not a big deal. But
Moving to position.
I am messing up my control a bit.
Show us the enemy.
Actually, once these fighters are gone, then they can't really shoot me because they may have a frigate. I don't think so if these are the battle cruisers like I'm thinking.
A strategic area.
Let them grab the
We
points.
stand ready.
It's going to be a bit awkward,
To
but
where we are
at
needed.
the same time I only need 1 ship to spot them temporarily.
Show us the enemy.
So I don't think I have to worry yet. It's
Give
just
us
going to be a
purpose.
bit staggered is the main thing, but I'm kind of okay with that.
Hold course.
No Arc Propagator, that's up in the note.
Where shall we strike? At your command.
Eh.
New vector acknowledged.
Okay, I take that back. You do have them.
Enemy in sight.
Too slow.
We strike.
If only you saw that coming ahead of time.
Being successful.
Now I gotta keep in mind that... Oh yeah, you...
Give us purpose.
I was getting too excited for no reason there, but... And sadly, torpedoes are a whiff.
Give us purpose. Boarding course
I hit the wrong button. I got a little too paranoid.
Where shall we
Actually,
strike?
I have lightning strike, so let's steal.
Full speed.
Oh, you have that as well.
Our rock cannot be denied. Launch Thunderhawks.
Can we fire more and force these things to panic?
Critical damage.
Yeah, I am going to lose a strike cruiser alas, but to separate, that's not a big deal yet.
Shall we strike? Our wrath cannot be denied.
Board me, I can reactivate them easily,
Engines
at
engaged.
least. And actually, this thing's alive as an added bonus.
Boarding course critical damage. Hold course.
Sadly, going to take a little bit of ramming damage, but
We stand ready.
your crew is heavily damaged, at least, and
At your command.
see if we can Yeah, if I could kill the flagship, that helps a ton, but
The enemy.
I just didn't realize my own flagship was currently in a ram fest.
Give us purpose. Our wrath cannot be denied.
Now, boring torpedoes,
That is impossible.
kill off the crew, and prepare this for another lightning strike in a moment.
I am listening.
That's the hope. And that was that the resurrection orb? I'm trying to remember what it was exactly.
They died.
I am messing up my controls a bit though, but
Let's advance. Where shall we strike?
you have boring about to come back up.
25% of strategic points.
Second, I did not prioritize deck. That's something to keep in mind.
We stand ready.
And sadly, well, I did get some boring, so we're golden.
Full
Just gotta
speed.
finish up with said boarding maneuvers.
Moving to position. Successful teleport strike.
Because the flagship's out of commission for a moment.
Launch.
Yeah, you're a drifting Hulk, so I think we're okay.
Show us the enemy.
I just need more boarding to finish this off.
Engines engaged.
Because right now, yeah, they have 2 ships activate.
All power to engine.
I would have liked to have
Away.
got a direct... actually, I want dumbfire torpedoes on you if I were to be serious.
Moving to position.
I don't think it's going to work the best, but all the decks are pretty much destroyed. We just need to kill the crew off.
Where shall we strike?
And that kills the light cruiser there.
Give us purpose.
I have to pay attention if they decide to get the resurrection orb, because it could have been useful considering I was boring everything.
Hold course.
And that probably kills the crew right there, truth be told.
We stand ready.
To honor the chapter effect. So I think we're golden. Yep,
I'm listening.
that is victory. I panicked a little bit. It's a bit odd, needless to say. But the boarding was definitely absurd. Aw. I hope that's not what I think it is, the abbreviations, but it worked out well. Yeah. I do honestly wonder if Resurrection Orb could have been useful there. It's normally a terrible ability, I won't lie, because it requires you to already have lost a third of your crew for it to even take effect. So it's not like you can conveniently just transfer the crew over and then benefit from its effect. Still, that was incredibly effective, even though I mismanaged that horribly. Ooh, Space Marine mirror match. What does that ultimately mean, though, is the big question. Since I don't recognize Sunny Dragon, but if they're going with the Lance type of fleet, it's possible I could have a little bit of trouble, at least with early potential critical hits. But with the sheer burst potential of my cruisers, if I could connect with 2, maybe 3 of them, I can immediately destroy one of their cruisers, but that's assuming I get lucky. Since I do thankfully have the interceptors to at least distract the point defense long enough for the torpedoes to kind of connect without getting shot down. I at least have that going for me. It's because these Space Marines kind of have that slight unique trait of being slightly smaller than their Imperial Navy and Mechanicus equivalents, these are actually harder to hit. Normally, I would make the argument at least. So that is a factor I am going to have to work with. And of course, it never hurts to try and grab these objectives either. I just gotta make sure I do my control properly, since I messed up horribly against the Space Marines. Otherwise, what would be pretty good here? Let's assume my opponent knows what they're doing. They probably have Disruption Overcharge, so shields are not going to be useful here. And I seriously question if armor piercing rounds is useful, because only my broadside batteries get to benefit off that. Otherwise, I don't know what else to utilize, if I were to be serious.
At your command.
But so far, we're left wondering what they are utilizing. And I wasn't listening for frigates before, when I went up against the Adeptus Mechanicus player. So I should seriously try and listen for that now. Nope, beacon. So we know that's at least the flagship, and not much else. It wouldn't be too ridiculous that maybe they have vanguards.
Hold course.
Anything's up in the air at this point, so I want to be ready. And honestly, I should try and recall my fighters rather than try and identify them, since if they have boring torpedoes, actually I should be able to evade these. Who am I kidding? Where is the beacon anyway?
You have seized a strategic area. The enemy has seized a strategic
Oh,
area.
I was targeting the wrong ships for one. I thought this was the group, but they may be able to dodge. I kind of am wanting to recall my fighters, truth be told. But they might be able to get out of the way in time. And hell, I have 3 other cruisers as a kind of service point defense anyway.
You have seized a strategic area.
One is very likely going to get detected. Hard to say about the others,
I am
since
listening.
it depends when that's
Enemy in
deploying.
sight.
Well, this is interesting.
Show us the enemy.
We're dealing with a possible AI
At
opponent.
your command.
At least that behavior is reminiscent of AI. They are a lower level opponent as well.
We stand ready.
This is interesting take, but they did not fire their boring torpedoes just yet.
Where shall we strike?
Because imagine how impossibly difficult that would be to have that tight of formation. Let's be serious.
Engines engaged.
So let's have ourselves a bit of fun. Think of this as a bit of a bonus match, even though if it goes how I'm foreseeing it, this may be pretty simple.
At your command.
I'm a little bit disappointed we're not going to have a proper Space Marine match, but let's have fun with it nonetheless. And also watch my combustion gauge, since
The
evasive
enemy has
maneuvers
seized
helps.
a strategic area.
And knowing how the behavior is going to work, they're probably going to go straight for his next objective.
Give us
And that's
purpose.
when I'll be ready to strike.
Moving to position.
And so far the Vanguards launch fighters at me. That's not much of a scare. Never mind the fact I think I concealed the ships they were going after.
Halt advance.
Nope, no need to worry.
We stand ready.
4 Vanguards apparently.
Full speed.
And they're all carrier ships, so we might as well switch to brace for impact with that said.
To where we
Since
are
I'm not
needed.
really at threat of anything. They do have some lances though.
Hold course.
Boring torpedoes connected.
We stand ready. Hold course.
So
I am listening.
let's see about killing these off. Again, I didn't really get much torpedoes as I would like, but
Where shall we
I think
strike?
we're in good shape right now.
That is impossible.
Especially if they're not going to call to arms.
Boarding successful.
So now, my
Show us
friend,
the enemy.
get into firing arc for me, please. That was not as impressive a torpedo shot as I want. But it's also part of the reason why I like having my combustion gauge available for these kind of maneuvers.
Enemy in sight.
Now, where's my flagship for the bombers?
Cause critical damage.
Accidentally called to arms there. That's a little unfortunate, but
For where we are needed. We stand ready.
let's finish these off. I didn't even see what the upgrades really were. Just basic upgrades. Never mind, I already knew that.
Our rock cannot be denied.
And flagship's getting focused.
Show us the enemy. Repositioning.
You're about to detonate. We're gonna have that gone, Vanguard gone. Let's see, torpedoes are coming up here, but no combustion gauge. Again, part of the reason why I need to be good about watching that. And I do have bombardment cannons at least still. So I might just do boarding parties, or at least boarding torpedoes.
That is impossible.
And finish with lightning striking you.
At your command.
Oh yeah, you have shields up, so I can't quite do that, sadly. But I think we're golden. I'm suffering a lot of damage, but I think we're golden. And I'm about to have repairs in a moment on the deck here.
That is impossible.
So Vanguard's dead, torpedoes just fired. A bit of a blind shot, so sadly
I am listening.
that's an example why you need to be careful about firing on such narrow ships.
Purpose. Halt advance. Where shall we strike?
Now you're about to burn to death. You almost have no health left, and we have 2 strike cruisers unaccounted for.
Engines engaged.
Even they realize how easy this might be. Well, shouldn't get complacent. It's not exactly easy, but it's definitely a lot simpler than it probably should be. Now that my opponent's actually trying.
We stand ready.
There, self-destruction there. It's hard to tell what's left though because of the sheer amount of concealment that's my opponent's utilizing.
All power to engines.
Well, let's try and hit with some good torpedoes.
Give us purpose.
And one good way to do that, now I thought of it there, is I could ram the ship since they technically go the same speed as my torpedoes. So if I hit at a proper angle, I can turn them into my torpedo arc. If I worry it may be off. That is something I could do. Going to be tricky to do because again, they go the same speed. My cruiser's not going to overshoot or get ahead of the torpedoes. But that was a silly match. Why even bother putting it on here? Well, mostly just for fun, I suppose. That's the point of playing video games, right? Okay, apparently more Adeptus Mechanicus is in order here. March or die. Well, how about I charge and kill instead? I think I know the perfect compromise to the situation. Although, this could still be fun. It's going to be tenuous, it's definitely going to be scary. Since you've seen the extreme of what could happen if I don't... Oh, so this is the fella, huh? Asking about Tau. Okay. Either way, different opponent, and I lost my train of thought. Now, with that said, yeah, I honestly can't remember now. I think it simply put was the Nova cans. I need to pay attention to my ships at all times, because any lapse of concentration is sure to get them killed quite quickly. Either way, what do I want to do? Disruption bomb, probably, to kill off the shields quickly. So, I'm feeling really optimistic. If I can get close, I can murder their fleet relatively well, just by the boarding itself. Can I do that safely? It comes down to how my opponent utilizes the Nova cans if I were serious. So we will find out. So this tells me just traditional 3 cruisers and a bunch of frigates then. Well, not 4 Nova cans, 1 battle. 3 cruisers, 1 Arc Mechanicus, and then the couple of was it 5 frigates? Was it? If
Where shall we strike?
I'm remembering it correctly. I am gonna get spotted quickly though, so
Where shall we strike?
Gotta be willing to dive in there effectively. I just gotta get my priorities in order.
I am listening.
So I'm not afraid to launch these ahead of time.
To where we are needed.
Otherwise, simply, oh, let's have a look at them. So we know what the Arc Mechanicus is. Actually, I kind of want to destroy their deck, don't I, because of their poor morale. And they are locking on, so they will reveal me shortly. And I have to stop looking because Novacans are about to come my way pretty soon.
All power to engines. Underway.
Best of all, let's start turning to maybe avoid any follow-up shots. Actually, let them recharge. That's going to be the most important factor, is the combustion gauge recharging.
Enemy in sight.
And begin my turn.
I am listening. Full speed.
Come on, turn faster.
Where shall we
I'm so used to these things having 12-degree turns from Armada 1.
Engines engaged. We stand ready.
Now get everything in here. Again, gotta watch my combustion gauge because that could screw me over.
Enemy in sight. I am listening. To where we are needed. Where shall we strike? Repositioning.
So I burnt all my combustion gauge, but
That is impossible.
this could hurt some because of the state spawn placement.
Hold course.
But we got good boarding damage in.
Moving
The
to
flagship sadly is dying incredibly fast, but
boarding caused critical damage.
I think we're good on the shield recharge front. I just need torpedoes now to complement this.
Underway. I am listening.
Flagship without a doubt is pretty much dead. And I could have lightning strike. Remember, I had Kulex's assassin after all.
Boarding successful.
But now,
To where
let's
we are
board
needed.
and finish these off.
That is impossible.
And if possible, while already a drifting Hulk.
Engines engaged.
Frigates are not going to help too much here, and decks are also destroyed, which honestly is the best case situation. Since then they don't self-destruct on me like they could right now with this one cruiser.
Engines engaged.
Yes, reactivate it. Reactivating engines are also being damaged. I gotta keep an eye on that.
Brothers have fallen.
And also, we have one healthy cruiser that's gonna have to be dealt with. And actually, I should just destroy the weaponry at this point. Outside, well, actually, the deck of this ship is also important too.
Boarding caused critical damage.
Prioritize weaponry on these ships because I do have Honor the Chapter, which will help a ton.
To where we are needed. Obliterate that target.
Yeah, your deck's destroyed, so that's out of commission.
Hold course. We stand ready.
And hopefully these boarding will finish off the rest here.
Our wrath cannot be denied. Give us purpose.
It's not over yet though, because I am losing to the attrition game after all.
25% to strategic points.
Just gotta make sure
Show us the enemy.
we destroy what needs to be destroyed.
Underway. I am listening. Repositioning.
This is the one healthy cruiser that's all that's left, so
Purpose.
yeah, actually I could boost out.
Where shall we strike?
This should survive in a moment.
At your command. To where we are needed.
Boring torpedoes, don't do me wrong.
Hulk advance. To where we are needed.
And that is the self-destruction on that ship, so keep that in mind. This thing will survive another few moments. And the mutinies are what's doing it for me, because again, we've seen how easily my opponents are reactivating these ships after all.
Our wrath cannot be denied. Hold course.
Sadly, those were really bad shots. I was hoping to do more.
Enemy in sight.
Otherwise, I just want to kill the frigates. And any convenient damage will be great for killing these off.
At your command.
I'm kind of hoping maybe to kill off the crew just with random critical hit damage if I were to be serious.
Where we are needed.
Your mutiny, I think this is over now.
Halt, advance.
Only thing I could really criticize about my play is not real. I've been terrible about using my dumbfire torpedoes, let's be serious. That has the potential to just immediately kill a cruiser, and then that way I don't have to worry about the ships reactivating repeatedly, because I think that's where my problems start lying. When all my boarding potential was on cooldown, or I had to use it for the emergency repairs. But if I hit with the dumbfire shots, especially since it wasn't too terribly difficult to get those windows, I just didn't bother to commit to it, then they can't reactivate their ship and they immediately lose all that firepower after all. And with you've seen how narrow those spread is too. There is no spread for these torpedoes. So if I control it properly, that is an absurd amount of damage in comparison to how likely it is to hit with everything for like Imperial Navy or even any of the other fleets.